Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Landing Podcast hosted by me, Fisher, and my friend Tristan. Today we do not have a guest, unfortunately. We do actually have like at least one person on the waiting list to be here on the show, so we were going to get him eventually, and hopefully we can actually get him during our episode after the Super Bowl. I think that would work out really well.
We paid him $10,000 to be on the show. It's a big deal.
Yeah, we're using up all our revenue from this show to get him on here now. So anyway, recently we just got done with the AFC and NFC Championship. Overall, Tristan, what did you actually think of those games?
It was nice seeing the Chiefs lose.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's the thing I like about the Chiefs. Like Pat Mahomes is a really likable guy. It's more so his brother and his mom that get shit on so much.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's easy to root for them to an extent. It's cool seeing them go because before they won their last Super Bowl, the only Super Bowl they ever won was Super Bowl IV. So they hadn't won a Super Bowl in such a long time, and I was really happy. I like seeing them do well, but I want to see Cincy win it now. I couldn't root for anybody on the NFC because because both the teams in the NFC Championship are NFC West rivals.
Yeah, because the Bengals, they're kind of considered an underdog team just because they didn't have very many wins last season, and so now here they are looking really good with Joe Burrow. And what's actually kind of funny is I have an aunt and uncle. My aunt is from Cincinnati originally, and my uncle, he growing up, he was a Kansas City fan, Chiefs fan, and he and so of course they're married to each other, and I'm sure, like, I know my aunt, like, she really wants the Bengals to do good this year, so I'm sure she's really happy they're going to be in the Super Bowl. But I wonder how my uncle feels, because that's his wife's team that's moving on, but the team he grew up supporting lost. So I don't know, I just always wondered how that would work out between the two. But
did they divorce after the game?
Yes, unfortunately, and my uncle's currently staying with. No, I'm kidding.
Is your aunt hot?
No, it's a family member, so I think you can't say that. No,
that makes me even hotter, dude. Look where we grew up.
I don't know. Either way, my opinions, I think it's awesome to see the Bengals move on. I don't have any personal vendetta against the Chiefs at all. Like you already said, Tristan, like Patrick Mahomes' fiance and or girlfriend, I don't know if they're actually engaged or not, and of course Jackson Mahomes.
They're engaged. They have a kid together.
Yeah, and Jackson Mahomes. Yeah, obviously they're very irritating to see over on social media, so nobody wanted to see them go to the Super Bowl. But yeah, I think it's great. It's AFC, a great game. Patrick Mahomes went to overtime 2 games in a row, and he got the ball from the coin toss, so he got the ball first. But luckily the Bengals were able to stop him on offense. So and then of course the NFC Championship, right? The 49ers, man. I was hoping it to be a little bit more competitive against the 49ers, but obviously it was still a close game after all. But yeah.
Do you think Garoppolo's going to be on the team next season?
I think he is. I think he's going to stay. Yeah, because, the thing about Garoppolo, he really isn't that bad. He is in the NFL, for goodness sake, but still, I don't think he's terrible, but he does make a lot of mistakes, and he doesn't seem very consistent at all. And so I think if they just somehow, get into his head and try and get him to, do a lot less mistakes, I think they'll definitely keep him. But I honestly think, I think they might be able to keep a hold of him, but there's a good chance he might not be there either, so...
Yeah, it concerns me that Trey Lance didn't play at all, going into farther on into the season. It makes sense because at first, throughout the preseason, beginning of the year, they were doing a dual threat thing with their quarterbacks. And I get Trey Lance was a rookie, but they didn't use him at all towards the end of the season, and it really concerns me on where he's at right now, just skill wise. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he has a lot of raw talent, and they'll definitely clear some cap space if they let Garoppolo go. But it wouldn't surprise me if he's still there for one more season. They did sign him to a big deal, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to be there next season personally. But I'm really curious to see where the Niners go from here. Debo, that's the one guy I actually have sympathy for. He's
Oh
so
yeah.
talented. Yeah, he's carried the team throughout a lot of the season.
Debo is a really good. Yeah, he was. Oh man, he definitely played a good game.
Hmm.
But looking over on the Rams side of things, Matthew Stafford. I mean, and it's so funny too. I don't know if you were watching this like before the game started, but they had like this whole segment with Matthew Stafford. It's like, oh my gosh, you went from a really shitty team over at Detroit, and now here you are. You're transferring over to a different team, and the first year you make it to the Super Bowl, like it, or like the possibility or during that interview because it was before the game started, and so and so it's just so funny how like Matthew Stafford getting so much attention because he just happened to go to a better team. So
Hmm. He's got one of the best receivers, Cooper Kupp.
mm-hmm.
And he's got Aaron Donald, Jalen
Yep.
Ramsey, Von Miller on the other side of the ball,
Yep.
Leonard Floyd.
And of course, Matthew Stafford, he is a good quarterback himself. He just needed those extra players to help him like look better, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so good for him. I mean, I think it's great that he's going to be moving on to the Super Bowl, and so it'd be really curious to see how that game goes because honestly, like I'm kind of torn between like who I actually want to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, Bengals,
Really?
I think really do deserve it. This is their chance to like really make worthy of themselves. Whereas the Rams, they've always been kind of worthy. They've always been a pretty decent team, especially in their own division. And so just because Matthew Stafford comes over doesn't mean that they should win because this is his prime time. I don't know, but I mean like seriously, I think personally, I think personally I do want Bengals to win. I think I'd like to see that more, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Rams win either. Because I think they are a solid team, even though they are like one of the Seahawks' mortal enemies since they're in the same division.
Yeah,
But
I'm in shock that you're even kind of rooting for the
I think
Rams.
it's
Like the only
because
thing,
like the talent that they have on the team has really shown this year. You've mentioned all those players, and so I think they have. I think they really are showing the potential. Where like when I look at the Seahawks, I think there are some good and outstanding players, but they never showed themselves this year. I felt like, and so I think that's why I have a lot of respect for the Rams. But overall, I think I do want to see the Bengals rather win it.
it seems like everyone wants the Bengals to win, and for good reason too. I mean, like it was. I did not think they were going to make the playoffs this year, and the fact that they did not just make the playoffs, but they won their first playoff game in 31 years, and now they're in the Super Bowl, and it's Joe Burrow's first full season under center.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamar Chase is a rookie. They got a young team. Even if they lose the Super Bowl, I still think it's still a positive situation because they've
Mm-hmm.
come this far. But with Joe Burrow's mentality and his leadership, and the way he's driven, it's going to be a disappointment for them if they lose the Super Bowl. I mean, you don't
Mm-hmm.
get there just to lose. But I mean, like the way I look at it, I mean, it's a win-win for Cincinnati either way. The fact that they made it this far. But yeah, no, I'm 100% rooting for Cincinnati. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm curious to see how Joe Burrow does against Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
But they got T Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd. They got a really talented receiving corps, and then yeah, I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm excited.
I would say that the biggest factor that's going to determine if the Bengals win is going to be their defense. Their defense I think, is the one part on the side of the field or the side of the whatever, ball that I think is going to be the biggest factor on like whether or not they're going to win. I really do think that the Bengals offense has the capability of beating the Rams defense, but the Rams defense is pretty decent, but I still think the Bengals offense can pull through with it. It's just the Bengals defense that I think is going to have to step up their game a little bit more if they're going to really, really want to win this.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they line up Eli Apple, whether or not he's going to be over Cooper Kupp all game, or if he's going to be against Van Jefferson. Because I mean, that's the thing with Eli Apple. He was a good cornerback coming out of Ohio State. And he was a first-round pick to the Giants. Didn't do anything there, and I think he went to New Orleans after that. Didn't do anything, and I think Cincinnati's his third team. Either way, he's been mediocre, and he had a good game last week. I'm concerned about their secondary, especially not just against Cup. I feel like I'm afraid they might spend too much time focusing on Cup, and Van Jefferson's going to get open because Van Jefferson's just a rookie, but he's still really fast and he still finds ways to get open. So I'm curious to see how their secondary does against those receivers. Like I was talking about, the Bengals have a really good receiving corps. I'm curious to see how the Rams secondary does against them. But they got Jalen Ramsey. There's no elite player on the Rams secondary. They got
Mm-hmm.
Jadobe Awuzie. They got Eli Apples. They're both okay corners, but yeah, Eli Apples, he had a really good game last week. I don't know if he can repeat that. Like I said, rooting for the Bengals, but their secondary is the one thing that's concerning me. And with Cam Akers too, the running back for the Rams. I mean, he tore his Achilles at the beginning of the year. He
Yeah,
was
that's
out for the
right.
whole regular season. Then he came back the wild card game and had like 95 yards, something like that.
Hmm.
And he had a bad fumble against the Bucks, but the fact that he's playing now is impressive as it is.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think it's gonna be a really good game. I'm really curious to see how Joe Burrow does against the Rams defense, especially going into the fourth quarter. And Evan McPherson, their kicker, has been a stud all throughout the
Oh
playoffs.
yeah, and
And if it,
he's a rookie too, right?
yep, out
Yeah.
of
Hmm.
Florida.
Yeah, yeah, good. Yeah, seriously, that I think it's going to be a great matchup. I'm really excited. The only thing that's going to suck is when it's over, we have to wait a whole another year for football. I
Yeah,
mean,
all the way till September. Yeah.
yeah, technically, like not a whole year, but I mean, yeah, honestly, I'm really excited to watch this game. I'm also really excited for halftime because they're going to have Eminem,
Mhm.
Dr.
Dr.
Dre,
Dre,
Kendrick
Kendrick
Lamar,
Lamar.
Mary J. Blige, I think that her name is. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's going to be a cool show to watch. Last year was The Weekend, which I guess was pretty good. I don't think. I don't think I watched it. No, I think I just yeah I only saw highlights. Obviously, you see all those memes every single year of like the
Yeah.
halftime shows. I think Katy Perry kind of started that trend with Left Shark,
Hmm.
but either way, I'm really excited to watch the halftime, which is awesome because so it's like, and of course you can't forget about Super Bowl commercials, right? But I mean, I haven't really been too impressed with Super Bowl commercials the last couple of years, but I just remember like as a younger kid watching them, there's just some that are like really outstanding, like especially the
Oh yeah.
Doritos commercials. Like I think there was one where a
Hmm.
guy was like in a coffin or something like that. Or no, I think my favorite one is the woman's like pregnant and I think she's about to have her kid or no, or I don't know what they're doing. They're like checking the baby or something, and like the baby's following the Dorito in the dad's hand, so he like throws it across the hallway, and the baby just like comes straight out of the woman. Like that was like one of the best ones I've seen. Is there any Super Bowl commercials that you Tristan, like that you just like memorize by heart?
Yeah, there's this one Bud Light one. It seems like a lot of the Bud Light commercials are funny. There's this couple that's driving. It's like late at night, and they see this guy on the side of the road who's hitchhiking, and he's like holding an axe, I think, and he also has a case of Bud Light. And the husband's like, "Should we pick up this guy?" And the wife's like, "Well, he has an axe," but the guy's like, "But he's got Bud Light." And then they end up picking him up, even though he looks like a murderer. And then the commercial's about to end, and they're like, "Should we pick up this guy?" And it's a guy that has like a mask on, I think, and then he has a case of Bud Light, but he also has a chainsaw. And then the guy in the back seat that they just picked up is like, "But dude, that guy's got a chainsaw." This is just the hypocrisy in it. I thought it was really funny.
That's a good one. Yeah, for some reason I don't remember that one too well because I mean Bud Light's definitely one of the ads that are pretty popular in the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
I know for a while they did like the whole Bud Night thing or something like that.
Remember that?
That those were pretty popular. I'm trying to think. Like I know it's also the time where they show off like new movie trailers and stuff like that. I still remember as like a little kid, they showed a trailer for the what was it the Transformers 3? It was a trailer for Transformers 3, and that was like when it first aired on TV, and that was when that was like my first time seeing it. I just remember as a kid like being so excited because I love the Transformer movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, Super Bowl commercials I think are going to be pretty interesting. I didn't last. Was it last year they had a Super Bowl commercial that was like it was Baby Nut. It was like the baby peanut, like Mr. Peanut or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, so anyway, yep, Super Bowl commercials. I mean, obviously, I'm more excited for the game than the commercials, but anyway, yeah. Other things. So actually, there's somebody we know who's going to be part of a football team.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So yeah, like back to the Super Bowl halftime show. Like I'm really excited for it because I thought The Weeknd had a fantastic show last year, and I'm curious to see how if Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Eminem can all top that. But when I was thinking about that, because Eminem did sign Young McGrath to Shady Records a couple of
Mm-hmm.
years ago. And then seeing the post that you sent me that he signed with the arena football team Tri Cities Rush, that's just a dream come true for that guy, man. That
Mm-hmm.
guy's just a freak athlete, and I'm curious to see how he does playing for him. And that's the thing with arena football too is that if I remember right, the fields are 50 yards, so
Mm-hmm.
it's half a football field.
I'm gonna
Some
look it
of the
up
games are
actually.
insanely high scoring.
I'm actually looking it up. Arena football. Like I'm just making sure that it is 50 yards.
Yeah, I'm really curious how young McGrath got signed by them too. I wonder what he was doing. I don't know if he was playing like pickup games with friends or flag football or what, but obviously he was tearing it up. And if he's going to be playing for Tri-Cities Rush, he's like 5'9", 200 pounds. I feel like I think he's going to be a halfback.
Yeah, he's gonna be
I'm
a
curious,
halfback.
yeah, I'm curious to see if he starts.
Oh, that's interesting. Wait, huh? It says It's just I don't know. Okay, I'll just read it. A typical indoor football field is 200 feet long by 80 feet wide, 85 feet wide. The same size as a hockey rink or indoor soccer arena, the playing an arena. I said arena football field size. Why is it the normal football field size? What is the difference between arena and NFL? The field in arena football is much smaller than college football. The field is oh yeah, you're right, 50 feet long. And so it's gonna so those games can be very high scoring. I don't think I've ever watched an arena football game.
Yeah, I got a chance my freshman year. I shouldn't say chance, but like my freshman year, there was an arena football team, and I couldn't play because I had a later birthday in our class. My birthday was like in July of the year prior, so I was born in '98, and that's for people that were born in 1999. That was like the age limit. So freshman year, some of my friends got to play in an arena league, and I didn't get to because I was too old, and I was so bummed out about it. I heard it was a ton of fun.
Oh, dang. That's interesting. But yeah, arena football, you definitely don't hear too much about that. I met somebody, she was in powder puff football, and I thought that was pretty interesting because you never hear about powder puff football either. And I don't even know where powder puff football, I don't know if there is powder puff football where we're around us. I never even.
There was in a couple towns around us.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I do you remember oh my gosh, maybe you weren't at our school when this happened, but we used to do like powder puff football thing for like during those days at high school. Like what are they called? Like Spirit Week or something. We'll have like powder puff football. Like there was like the Ironman volleyball. We did Ironman volleyball. That was really fun.
I did that senior year.
But I think we did do the powder puff football. I don't know. Were you here for that? Like when we did something like that? Maybe not. But
Kinda. I remember someone messaging me about it.
Well,
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna go with no.
But anyway, I always like that kind of stuff. Having like playing an actual game like during the school day. I always thought that was really cool. And of course it's like everybody from the school who's participating. I haven't like thought about that stuff in a long time. But anyway, another thing that we are going to be talking about, and this is kind of an interesting one. I think a lot of other podcasts do the same thing, but we're going to be looking over different types of conspiracy theories. And there's actually some pretty interesting ones. I have this list here that has like 30 different ones. I don't know if I'll go through them all, but I'm just going to pick and choose which ones I think are interesting, because there is one on here that I think is pretty interesting. And so I don't know, Tristan, is there any conspiracy theories that you have on the top of your head that you just like know by heart and you find it really interesting?
When it comes to things I find interesting, I mean, the aliens. I mean, there's the whole debate about them. Like, I feel like the aliens that you see in cartoons and stuff like that, like how people project aliens to look like. I don't think those are true. But I feel like you're insane if you don't think that there isn't life somewhere out in the universe that isn't Earth.
Yeah.
Think of all the planets, all the stars, like all the infinite galaxies. Like there's got to be, it could just be like little like microorganisms on another planet somewhere. There has to be life somewhere.
Yeah,
no, there isn't.
And like the thing about aliens is like every time I kind of bring this up to other people, I don't think I've ever met someone who doesn't believe in aliens. I'm gonna be honest with you, but personally, yeah, I'm totally in the same page as you, Tristan. I mean, like, how can you not believe that we're the only planet out there with life on it? Like, there has to be some thriving sort of civilization somewhere on another planet. I mean, I think it has been proven that like on some of the planets in our solar system we have found like microorganisms or whatever, but obviously there's no civilizations unless the government's keeping it from us. But
honestly, it makes perfect sense why they would hide it from us, because I mean, whenever COVID hit and everyone was gathering toilet paper and panicking like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And just imagine if they announced that there were aliens. The whole world would go bananas.
Yeah, the memes would be really good though. It's like remember the Area 51 memes? Like
Oh, yeah,
it's like people like show some
that
video of
was
like them trying to escape Area 51, but they have like an alien with them or something.
yeah.
But what's funny though about aliens? So like I kind of mentioned that unless our government's keeping it away from us, that aliens actually exist, which is definitely a possibility. But let's look at it from this perspective. So, from what we know, from what we've been told, is that in our solar system, we are the only planet with life on it, right? And so, obviously, there could be like microorganisms or whatever on other planets, but there's obviously no civilizations like there is one on Earth. And so, this is kind of something that I always thought was kind of interesting, and maybe there probably is a good scientific reason why I could be wrong about this, but in my opinion, the reason why that Earth is the only planet with an actual civilization on it compared to any other planet in our solar system is because how our distance from the sun. Like I think like if you're too close to the sun, like if you're any closer to the sun than where the Earth currently is, then I don't think it's possible for the Earth's atmosphere to survive that extreme amount of heat or something. But then you look at the planets that extend beyond Earth, like I don't know, Saturn, Jupiter, and whatever, right? And the planets that are further away from Earth, the reason why they don't have civilizations is because it's too cold, so they're not getting enough heat from the sun. And so I think Earth is in like that perfect middle spot where it's able to absorb enough heat to where it can create life on this planet. That is just a huge theory or opinion that I think of on like why we're the only living like creatures on Earth compared to the other planets. I don't know. That's just something I've thought of.
Yeah. How I look at it though is, they are aliens, any sort of other living beings out there. Their climates, they grew up in those things. Like I feel like they've adapted to those. I feel like no matter where, and like there's a reason why like polar bears are out in the snow. Like they can survive in that. They've adapted to that. If you just put a naked human out in the middle of the snow in Antarctica, chances are they wouldn't survive. Because they're not meant for that atmosphere. They're not meant for that. That's not their natural habitat. Those aliens could be on like Titan, like one of the moons on Saturn, I believe. Like they found like frozen water there. People think that if there are aliens out there, there's a good chance that they're on that moon. Those aliens could be looking at Earth and go, oh, like they're used to the, I don't know, 800 degrees below zero weather, whatever. Like that's normal to them. However, whatever the temperature is there, and they could be looking at Earth and go, oh, it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit over there. There's no way that there could be living life there. We couldn't survive that. Like whatever aliens are, like they're on like Mercury or Venus, and it's hundreds of degrees there, however hot it is there, and like there could be there could be any sort of alien microorganism, whatever being it is, whatever living thing is on that planet. They could be used to that. They could be used to that climate. Like we don't know. That's because they're not human. Chances, I'm willing to bet they're not human. There's no way, because no human could survive in any of those conditions except on Earth, where Earth is perfectly placed around the sun.
Right. And what's also kind of interesting is I think, oh God, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Jupiter's a gas planet. Is that right? So does that mean
I believe so.
I'm gonna look it up. I have Google and
I think if you got dropped on Jupiter, you would just go right through it.
Yeah, Jupiter, a gas planet. Come on, planet. I know it's something.
It's JEWPTI. OUR.
Yeah, it's also called a gas giant planet. So yeah, you would just go right through it, meaning that there's no actual solid ground to even go on. So how would there even be like actual living creatures living in that atmosphere? Not to mention that giant eye is a huge storm. So yeah, I don't know how that would work. How gas planets would work, having living life on it. And like, could you even see anything? Like, what would it look like inside? Like, it would just be like blurry. Would it just be like a sandstorm in front of you? Like I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me.
We should have a Jupiter native be on the show.
A Jupiter native?
Yeah, we'll ask him.
But I've also like kind of had the like, I don't know, I guess you can call it a theory. I've also kind of had the theory that, like, what if, like, what the government tells us is true, that there has been no identified living life on these other planets. There's no actual civilization or anything. But what if, like, there is civilizations on these planets, except they have like more advanced technology to mask themselves so we can't actually see them, like Wakanda from like the Marvel movies, like from Black Panther, where you can't actually see it. It's like it has like some sort of force field shield over it, like camouflage shield. Like, what if it's like that on these planets? That's a very good possibility. But I mean, it would be, I've always wondered what it'd be like to meet another alien civilization. And of course, there's that theory that, aliens built the pyramids as well. Even though I think there's, I don't know about you, but I don't believe aliens built the pyramids. I really don't.
No, I don't either.
But one thing, no, go ahead. Sorry.
It is fascinating though how perfectly those are placed. They align perfectly with Orion's belt, and to align that perfectly, you think that they would need an aerial view, and we didn't have anything that could get up that high. We had no flying aircraft at the time. There's so many. I feel like we have just severely underestimated the intelligence of the people that lived back then.
I totally agree. I mean, obviously the technology at the time is not nearly as advanced as what we had, and so you can even look throughout history. I think it's Leonardo da Vinci. I think he had the idea to make a submarine, right? But obviously he was ahead of its time. There was no way he could have built a submarine back then. The resources just weren't available yet, or like whatever the case may be. And so back then I can definitely see them having like very high intelligence, but they just have to use what they got. And so at the time, technology wasn't super advanced either. And I think you can see some like animated images online of what the pyramids actually look like when they were first built, because they didn't look like bricks or whatever. They actually were really smooth with like limestone, I think, and the top was like, or no, I think the tip was like out of limestone, so it made it look like it was gold or something like that. But I don't know, I thought that was really interesting, because that's something I kind of discovered not too long ago. I didn't realize that the pyramids they didn't just look like bricks like they are now. They actually looked smooth and finished or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kind of obvious, but like I just never thought what they would look like when they were first built.
Yeah. Do you think they made it on creative or survival mode?
Oh, I think I think the host actually turned creative mode on for them to complete it.
I think they cheated. Yeah, that's how I got the aerial view.
Yeah, and I think what ended up happening is that the host got too greedy by giving himself diamonds and food, unlimited amount of food. That's why they had to kill him, and that's why civilization died out, is because they killed their own host who was able to give them that resources. And holy shit, I think we might be onto something here, actually.
Yeah, I think we are.
Holy shit, that's very, if aliens really were the reason to help build like the pyramids, maybe it wasn't like necessarily aliens, maybe it was more like a Jesus or a god, who was able to, like, Jesus of course is known for turning water into wine. It could be somebody like that, maybe that's what happened. I don't know, that's a good possibility.
Think about it. The guy was on creative mode making the pyramids, and then he got too greedy, and now ever since then, everyone's just fighting to survive in this cold world. It's like a game of Battle Royale. The whole world went from Minecraft to a game of Battle Royale, and they've been promoting Battle Royale games for the past.
It's Minecraft It's Minecraft to Hunger Games. That's what it is.
It really is.
Wow.
Like in the end of the world.
Yeah. I never really thought of it like that. Everyone's like, oh, alien spacecraft, they gave them the resources, blah, blah, blah. But it could be just one person, in creative mode, just giving him the resources. They very well could have been. And they took him out.
You know what his name is?
Oh, what's his name?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Yep. Yep. I'll put that out on Google. Like whatever conspiracy theory websites, make sure you put that out there. That could be an interesting one.
Dude, if we get any deeper into this, we're going to get shot. This is probably going to be our last episode, dude. We're getting put on a list after this gets put on Spotify.
No, seriously, though, I really don't think that aliens built the pyramids.
No, I don't.
Anyway, so let's go ahead and look into this article I found with 30 different conspiracy theories, and I think
30.
Well, we won't go over all of them. I'll just choose and pick which ones I think are interesting. Starting with this one, which I've heard before. which could be true, but I don't know. I find it kind of interesting, so I'm gonna read it. It's called Operation Northwoods, a genuine conspiracy involving a plan by the Joint Chiefs of Staff to launch a fake Cuban terror campaign on American soil to persuade the U.S. public to support an invasion against Castro. The plan involved bombings and the simultaneous hijacking and blowing up of American airliners. The operation was I think they meant to say squashed, but it says quashed. So it was squashed by President Kennedy, leading many to speculate that it was linked to his assassination a year later. The plan has also been linked by theorists who believe that the September 11th, 2001 attacks were so-called an inside job. Okay, the last part there, I didn't realize they tied it into 9/11. But
do you know what a false flag policy is?
I think I've heard of it. What is it exactly?
Yeah, so like there's people that think that 9/11 was an inside job and it was a false flag policy. That's where you bomb your own. They're thinking that we bombed our own building